we're going to be taking a look at equipment and gear needed for busking. You can have an electric guitar, you can have an acoustic electric. You'll need some type of amplification, a little PA or some type of little amplifier that you can plug a guitar in and a microphone into. I'm going to show you kind of what I have. I'll be right back. I'll see if I can carry it. Yeah. Oh, mother God. Oh, okay, let me attempt to grab this. Okay, so this is an XM Mobile 8. It is battery powered, woo, and has exactly 3 inputs right here. So we have my mic, my keyboard player's mic, and then the actual keyboard itself. But this would be perfect for, you know, just one microphone, one guitar if needed. Or we could do like one voice and then piano and guitar. It ain't bad. We have to make sure it's plugged in so the battery's full, but it has at least 5 hours worth. I've really enjoyed it. We're renting this one right now from Wong McQuaid. Really lightweight too. Highly recommend it. I've been really enjoying it. I might actually just finance it or buy it once I have money. I have not much right now. It didn't have enough inputs for 2 mics and a piano and a guitar. So we made do, and I ended up using my adorable little amplifier that I'm gonna show you too. Okay, so I've had this thing since I was in college. It has served me very well. It's a battery powered amplifier. And this one takes about six AA batteries. So I make sure that I have those on hand. It had an issue where it kept draining the batteries if I left them in overnight. It's an old little mini cube. So I would have to make sure that I would take them out after I was done performing, have them on hand, put them back in when we were actually gonna go play somewhere. And always have spares, always have spare batteries. I cannot stress that enough. Have spare strings, have spare picks, have spare batteries. You're gonna require power. Do you have access to power? If not, you'll need something that's battery powered, something that is portable. If you do have access to power, I'm gonna recommend still bringing maybe an extension cable, something just to kind of give you multiple power outlets. You'll also need, batteries for your guitar if it has to be plugged in. Bring yourself a microphone. I've got for myself an SM58 Beta. We'll bring another one for my keys player too, so we will typically have 2. Make sure that you have a microphone clip and mic stands. Have some microphone stands, cables as well. Have some XLRs ready. Patch cord for your guitar. Here's one of the XLRs. The other thing that you're gonna want is a tuner. Make sure you have batteries for it. When I've forgotten this in the past, I've used a free app on my cell phone. What if you break a string? Oh no, you can't play anymore. So I usually tend to get myself, a pack of strings. I'm pretty bad at actually changing my strings regularly. I don't do it as often as I should, and I'm aware of that. But I'll get a new, fresh pack of strings. Just keep some spares with you, Make sure they're the same gauge that you've been normally using. If you're not sure or you forget your gauge, write it down, or just make sure you keep the pack with you, and then you can look at it and reference it. You can also bring along some tools to help you with gear maintenance. So I might have a wire cutter to help me with changing the strings, or for some reason the 9-volt battery doesn't come out of my guitar as easily, so I had a little plastic knife just to help me wedge the battery out. The other thing that you would need is a spot for people to put tips, because they'll want to give you some money, show you some support. So this was something that my keys player had, here we go. She put together. It's very cute. It's got a piece of tape on the front that says thank you, and we've just been collecting all of our tips in it thus far. If you don't have a tip jar, people will just kind of weirdly leave money. We had a guy who didn't see our tip jar at first, so he ended up just leaving a toonie on the piano for us. For the keyboard, our keyboard, okay, let's make sure we have a stand. Let's make sure that we have the pedals that are needed for it as well. And and let's make sure that we have a seat. If you're gonna busk, you wanna make sure the weather's good too. Check the weather. Is it sunny? Do you need sunscreen? If it's raining, you don't want to be outside without any cover. You're gonna wreck your instrument. You're gonna wreck your gear. If it's too hot too, you'll want to have some shade coverage. I don't like to have my guitar in direct sunlight for a long period of time because it's just not good for it. A more recent example that I would have is that me and my keys player were gonna be playing from like noon until 1 downtown at a designated spot, but it was in direct sunlight. There was no shade coverage. I had sunscreen on, but I'm not gonna feel great just standing in direct sunlight, baking myself and my guitar. So we ended up finding some shade coverage by a business. We luckily got permission from them, so everything was great. Make sure that you have permission from whatever city you're in to perform. Some require a busking license, you'll have to pay a fee, fill out some paperwork. Security is another thing. You're sitting there with a jar of money somebody might want to steal. I'll show an example of kind of what we ended up doing to secure this to our keyboard stand. Give me 1 second. So I've got a series of bungee cables and bungee ties that I bought from the local Home Hardware, Canadian Tire, or something like that. But, you can grab just something, just something to kind of secure it. Just tie it to your keyboard stand, tie it to your ankle, I don't know, a rock, a tree nearby, something that just makes it difficult for people to grab and then run off with. Signage. You're also going to want just some type of signage. I'll show you kind of what I had put together for that. It can just be noticeable, something cute, easy to read. Make sure, actually the biggest thing, make sure that you can transport your gear properly. We kind of learned the hard way the first time. This is a little bit of trial and error. Try to pack as light as you can, or as compact as you can, as convenient as you can. I'll show you what we had as a setup, but I got myself years ago a little collapsible dolly, which I've gotten a lot of use out of, and then a container of bungee cables just to strap all the gear I needed onto the dolly and then drag it around with me to gigs. It's been very handy for, amplifiers, my pedal board, heck, even my guitar I've been able to fit on there with everything, and it came in handy for these busking gigs. So I would put a music stand on it, keyboard stand, 2 microphone stands, and we actually had a drum stool that we were using as a keyboard or piano bench, because we wanted something small and portable, so it worked. Something I can add to everything is music stands. So the keyboard that we had has a music stand. My keyboard player was using that for some of her sheet music. I brought my own as well, so you can have the music memorized ideally. It's one of those things where I don't think people will mind if you're looking at a piece of sheet music. So you can bring a nice folder with some of your sheet music in it. Just make sure it can be weighed down and won't blow away in the wind. If you have an iPad like I do, you don't have to worry about that. You just have to make sure you can flip through the pages as fast as you can. For the most part, there's going to be a constant flow of people. If you end up reusing a few songs, that's okay. I try to have at least an hour's worth of material. Something that's going to be very handy is to have a set list ready. So you can have all of your songs memorized, but sometimes it's just nice to have a list so you know what you're going to play one after the other. Obviously, you can change it on the spot and you can kind of go, I don't really feel like playing this one right now. It doesn't quite fit the vibe of the people that are around listening. Or it can be a situation like what me and my keys player had, where a gentleman, he's super nice. He was listening to us play and he came up and gave us $10 and asked us to play the song again. I was like, oh heck, sure. You would typically want to arrive at your busking spot 20 minutes early, just to make sure you're all set up, troubleshoot the audio, or, if you have a really light setup like just yourself and a guitar, then try to show up 10 minutes ahead of time, make sure you're all set up, not blocking any pathways. Take care of yourself, so have water. Stay hydrated. I always made sure I had a full bottle of water with me when I was playing. Have fun, and also don't stress. if it's just you up there, nobody's gonna know if you're gonna play a song perfectly or not. Here's an example of some of the other stuff that we would bring as well. So what I've got here is microphone stand. It's already got a clip on it. We have a second microphone stand right about there. We have our keyboard stand. This is my little foldable, my collapsible dolly. And it's got like kind of holes in the bottom, which wasn't great for the stands and everything. So we put them into a bag, and then bungeed everything together. I also have my music stand right there. It's a very sturdy one. I don't like those like really cheap flimsy ones. I used it once, it wasn't stellar. And then yeah, instead of a piano bench, we have like a little drum stool. And this thing, it's relatively lightweight. We can carry it upstairs easily or shove it into the back of a car. It's pretty solid. And then this is kind of the stand that, or like a little sign, there we go, that's the word, that we're using just to kind of advertise ourselves. Who are we? How do you find us? On Instagram, haha. Here's a website. Here's a quick look at like the bungee cords that I would use. I just have this container of them. I think some have gone missing over the years, but they've been pretty handy. So this thing's not too bad. We make sure that for my keyboard player, we would kind of keep her stuff and my stuff a bit separate, just so that we could keep track of it a little bit easier. But here's the keyboard. It has a nice little stand that's attachable. Her XLR for her mic. In here we've got like pedals and all of that jazz. Something that I would do, and I'm gonna show this to you guys, it's kind of cool. So when this is out, you can actually use the keyboard stand as like a storage for your own stuff. So actually I'll show that to you quickly. This is what I'm talking about. So you can take like your ignore the stains on it, that's from coffee a long time ago. So when my guitar's out, or we just have like bags that we're not using, like the one I was using for the amplifier, you can store it inside of my keyboard case. Zip it up, and then keep it out of the way. I'll show you guys my guitar too. Keyboard isn't bad. Battery powered, very, very light, easy to carry, 10 out of 10. The keys are not weighted, but it is what it is. I just don't want to drag all of my stuff out and over to where there's a lot of light, so it's just going to be over where we're storing everything in the meantime. Yeah, this is my guitar. What I use, guitar strap, super important too, but you can keep your tuner in here, you can keep your spare batteries in here, patch cables. Make sure you have a decent case and everything. Whew. Okay, so I think that pretty much covers everything. This is what I do, so to each their own. Somebody might have a more convenient or a bit of a better approach for things. I just wanted to make videos about stuff I'm doing, talk about things that I know about. I do that a lot in my lessons, so I might as well just record it. Hopefully somebody found this helpful. And if not, that's okay, I can talk into the void.